Hello, welcome to AOD. Sorry I haven't put out an episode in 3 weeks. I didn't feel like it. I'm not going to give you an excuse this week. I did not go to any other planet. I was right here not making episodes because I didn't feel like it. I did load some episodes onto YouTube, which, as always, I instantly regretted. Is there a worse pocket of the internet than the YouTube comment sections? I got comments from people who said the song was too long. Not, I think the song was too long, or the song was too long. Just a definitive statement about reality based on their personal opinion. So I thought about it and I looked at it, and the song is about 3 minutes long on some episodes. So I do want to apologize to anyone that got the impression that I give a hot fuck what you think about how long the song is at the beginning of my podcast. I don't give a shit. This is my podcast. I just make what I like and I put it out, and then you have the option of perceiving it or not perceiving it. I don't care what you think. Podcasts are made up like everything else. You guys listen to some podcasts and everyone else does a 10-second long song, and then you just buy into that reality as if podcasts are a fact. They're just a thing that people make and put out. Make it however the fuck I want. You can decide whether or not you want to listen to it. This is the problem with humans. This is the problem with the third dimension. This is why you guys are all chasing your tails in circles. It's because you have no comprehension as to what part of reality you are actually in control of. So you forfeit all opportunities to change the things you can actually change, and then you just make entitled, insane statements about things over which you have no say. You, fucknut65, whatever your name is, you have the option of not listening to this podcast. And you also have the option of pushing the fast forward button. Perhaps no one taught you that skill. Maybe you could find another video on YouTube to teach you how to push a button. You could have hit that fucking button on each episode enough times to get through the song in the time it took you to leave a comment no one gives a fuck about. Also, it's a cool song. Are you busy? Are you busy, comment guy? You're commenting on podcasts on YouTube. Am I meant to believe that your time is somehow precious, that you have something else going on? That doesn't feel true. I got to be honest. That doesn't feel true. Stop criticizing what other people do. Stop telling other people what to do. Take responsibility for yourself and don't listen to it. Fast forward it. Make your own podcast with a tiny, tiny little song and listen to that on a loop. No one gives a shit. Go fuck yourself. Anyway, hi. This week we're going to talk about being vulnerable. Hello, welcome to AOD. I am an 8th-dimensional blah, 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 speaking to you through a blah, blah, blah. Mark Pontius makes all of the music, the very long songs, and he's busy today. Otherwise, I was going to have him make me a 25-minute long song, and I was going to release that as this episode, because I do not like being told what to do. This episode was going to be about vulnerability, which, I mean, gross. Who wants to talk about that anyway? But I have been inspired by Fucknut65 to explain to the humans once again how the matrix you were working in actually works. Some of this will be a repeat because I don't remember what I said 5 minutes ago. Do you guys know what the grid is? Once you guys realize how the grid works, I think it's gonna help you out quite a bit. But there's an actual grid. There's an energetic grid. That's what the matrix is. It's a bunch of squares. Grid, you know what a grid looks like, right? It's floating above the planet. That's the matrix. That's the video game. You have an energy field around you, an aura, a torus field, whatever, that interacts with the grid. The grid picks up programming from you, you pick up programming from the grid. When you're unconscious, the grid can bring you a bunch of garbage and has brought you a bunch of garbage. Most of the things you don't like about your life are the product of programs in your energy field manifesting in the grid. The matrix is a program that creates a solid material version of what is in your energy field. Does that make sense? So imagine holograms, only they're solid, which is not what you think of when you think of holograms, but that's how it works. I don't have the time to connect the dots for you. Take some acid or something and listen to this episode again. So whatever's happening in your energy field goes into the grid, and in your immediate environment, the grid then projects that up for you to experience it. When you are fully awake and integrated, you will be able to say, hot dog. I don't know why the fuck you would do that. You have infinite power and you're ordering a hot dog. I don't know why you're so gross, but you say hot dog and then the matrix will just materialize a hot dog for you and you can grab it. You're probably going to experience that level of interaction with the matrix in this lifetime. Unfortunately, you're going to have to live to be 400 years old, but you will experience your interactive video game that you're going to waste on a hot dog. This already works. This already exists. Unfortunately, you mostly create shit you don't want. You mostly ruminate on and manifest things you don't want, and then you shadow box them. You argue with them. You shake your fists at the sky and ask, why? Why have I gotten this thing I directly ordered from the Matrix, God? Why? And then you argue with it, which is the funniest part. Watching you guys argue with the thing that you created. Hilarious. You're being pranked. You're being pranked by reality. The reason that we tell you, the reason that bumper stickers have been telling you for the last 10 years that the thing you want is not outside of you is because it is a literal manifestation of what is already inside of you. Trying to get something outside of you to provide you with something you are not providing yourself is a fundamental misunderstanding of the matrix you are currently standing in. Therefore, it will just put you in an endless loop. Ask anybody who's ever gotten to the top of the mountain, who's ever got the fame, who's ever got the wealth. This is why so many of them become hopelessly depressed. That's why there's such a high suicide rate, because you get to the top of that mountain and you can no longer convince yourself that there is something outside of you that will bring you happiness, and then you are forced at a crossroads. Do I look inside, or do I just say, fuck it? It's hard. It's hopeless up there. That got a little bit dark. I didn't mean for that to happen. My bad. Now, something that happens when you convince yourself that something outside of you is the answer. It's a very tricky part of the matrix because it's embedded deep in you, the belief that it's something outside of you. And even when you go, I know it's nothing outside of me. I saw that on a meme on Instagram. I love myself, self-love. And then you're just waste 3 years on a fuck boy. You believe that someone outside of you can love you enough to make you love yourself. You believe that some material thing will make you valid. You believe that some job will finally make your parents proud. Like everyone has these programs inside of them. And you can actually, if you understand the mechanisms of what is happening, you can actually heal these programs inside of you by beating the matrix outside of you. This is the cool part of the matrix. So I'm going to use a relationship as an example because it is the most relatable thing. A lot of people will say, I want love. We already talked about this. Whoppers and Big Macs. I want love. I want love. And then you meet Tristan. You meet Tristan on Tinder. Already not good. Not a good start. You know what I mean? This is ripe for a fantasy bond. You met Tristan on Tinder and you guys went to TJ Maxx. Sorry, I was trying to stick with the T's, couldn't think of a T, anything else. And it's great. Of course it's great. You just fucking met him. Of course it's great. But you initiate your fantasy sequence. You initiate the, oh my God, he's everything I've been looking for. He is tall. He is missing his 2 front teeth. I have been looking for that forever. He smacks his food when he eats. I don't know. I was just trying not to go with it. He answers my texts, or he gives me space. Whatever your brand of thing you're looking for. You pedestalize and assign a bunch of these things to Tristan because he's doing them in week 1. Okay. Or she, whatever. I'm just trying to use a fucking example. And the things don't matter, by the way. The things don't matter whether it's whatever the thing that you want is valid. But do we know that Tristan has these things? And is it safe to create this fantasy version of Tristan right now? Because we don't know these things yet. So what happens is you now are attached to a reality. Anytime you get attached to a reality, you are going to get your ass handed to you by the matrix because you are creating the reality. And if inside of you, you don't believe you are worthy of love, which is fine. It's a program. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to heal it. You do not get to escape from that program by pedestalizing Tristan, by trying to force Tristan to be projecting some bullshit onto Tristan, because at the end of the day, your unconscious programming is going into the grid up to Tristan, who might be a fine person, but now your program has hijacked him because in your life, Tristan has to play the role you wrote for him. And if you haven't dealt with your own internalized shit, Tristan is going to reflect that back to you. So now Tristan starts to reflect that back to you. Now here's where the opportunity in the game for you to go, oh, he doesn't return my text, or he doesn't respect my boundaries, or he fucked my best friend on our second date, or he whatever, doesn't tip good. Is there anything worse? You meet someone and then you find out they tip fucking 12%. God. Now you have the opportunity to level up your self-love by relinquishing the fantasy version of Tristan, not trying to force this to be something other than it is, and using the reflection of a person who doesn't treat you good and saying, oh, hey, no thanks. Or setting boundaries. Oh, hey, I'm going to set a boundary. And who cares if Tristan leaves? You just fucking met him. Even if you've been in a fantasy bond with him, who cares? Who cares about this? But what you do is you take that internalized program that says, I don't deserve love. I don't deserve love. People always abandon me. No one actually cares about me. And you go, nope, I don't actually let people stay around me who are like that. And you reject that reflection. And then Tristan goes, well, now you have beat that level in your own game. But the challenge is that you have to release the fantasy version first. When you attach to the one thing, when you attach to the one job, the one place, the one spiritual advisor. Another area, don't at me bros, that I have noticed is if you have a ton of internalized capitalism, you have to heal. Capitalism is a hologram of the LAC program. The LAC program was a pervasive, is maybe a word, program in the last reality. Lack does not exist. Abundance is a universal law. It is non-negotiable. It exists. And it is your natural state of being. You just have to get this program of lack outside of you. That's not victim blaming. It's a very insidious program that has its tentacles in every area of your life. The idea of worth is just more of this lack, this idea of scarcity. This is the game that you're coming out of. You do not get to find something outside of you and just escape it. If all of a sudden you come into a large group, I see a lot of people doing this with cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is a tremendous opportunity for you guys to prove that money is made up, to move into something that's decentralized, and that is amazing. However, if you take your own internalized capitalism bullshit to cryptocurrency, it's going to manifest there. There is nothing incorruptible by your programming. There is no person that is going to be so good that your belief that you don't deserve it won't fuck it up. There is no spiritual leader who is going to help you escape and make it to where you never have to take responsibility for your stepping into your own power. There is no currency, no matter how technologically advanced, that is incorruptible by our own bullshit. So you might go get involved in that, and maybe you can't figure out it's working for everyone else. It's not working for you. It's because if you haven't addressed the fact that you believe in lack and that you believe abundance is for other people and not for you, moving over here to a different currency is not going to change that. You have to heal that programming. Or maybe you go over there and you're successful at it, and then you turn into a piece of shit materialist because you never healed your program of lack. And greed is just the other side of lack. This is another area, don't at me bros, where we might have a fantasy bond. It might be healthy to keep remembering that thing outside of you, while good, can be corrupted if we bring our garbage into it, and is potentially corrupted at different points by other people's garbage. Capitalism is not a thing that happened to us. It is a thing that is inside of us. And if we don't heal that belief in lack and scarcity and mine and hoarding, and we are going to do that again. We're just going to move into a different place. Everywhere you go, there you are. Parasites do not live outside of you. They are inside of you. These programs are inside of all of us. Now, here's the amazing thing about the grid. When you heal your programs, and that's not to say you're going to be healed from everything always, but you right now are on a speed round of being handed opportunities to say no to things that aren't in your best interest, to set boundaries with people, to stop making yourself small, to step into your power. Every single day you're being given an opportunity to do that because we are waking the fuck up. Once you have woken up, you can align with other people who have woken up, and you can take that healing, put it into the grid, which you're doing every day when you heal, and change the world. And that's already happening. That's why the world is slowly becoming more compassionate and more inclusive, is because people are doing this work. You are so powerful. But a huge waste of time is shadow boxing your projections in the matrix, or expecting something outside of you to save you from yourself. Maybe you meet someone, oh, good, I get to have a conscious relationship, because you have convinced yourself that it is the lack of a relationship that is keeping you from feeling loved. And then you get that relationship and it turns into the same thing. Codependency is the manifestation of an internal belief that someone outside of you can save you. Capitalism is the physical manifestation of an internal belief in lack and scarcity and separatism. Religion is the manifestation of a fear of stepping into your own power. People start to wake up and then all they want is a community. And community is great if you just want a community. You just want to vibe with people. Do you want a community, or do you want to find people to validate your experience? Are you afraid of believing what you believe if you're the only one that believes it? Are you afraid that that makes it not true? So you want a teacher to say it. So then you can just believe in the teacher rather than stepping into your own power. You want a community so that you can be like, okay, well, it's us. We're good and they're bad. You want to feel safe. You want to feel secure rather than stepping into your own power. And when you come into it with that, you're going to get burned because everyone has a shadow and everyone's working through their own shit, and nobody can save you from yourself, and nobody can stop you from stepping into your own power. You have to step into your own power. Nothing outside of you. Trying to get the Matrix to provide you with something you haven't provided yourself with is a fundamental misunderstanding of how the Matrix works, and it will burn you every time, which is fine. It's fine if that happens. Pedestalize someone when they start to show you who they are. The quicker you can step into reality, you can use these physical things to change your reality. Not telling you not to feel your feelings, not telling you not to chase the things you want, but be as honest as possible at all times. Sometimes we want something to be good, and we don't want to deal with the fact that everything is nuanced, everything is good and bad, and so we just create a fantasy version. Well, we do this with the government. What's our side? Well, this is our side, so we're going to ignore all this very toxic shit so that we can stay loyal to this side. We don't get anywhere when we do that. Acknowledge, pick a word. Acknowledge the reality of every situation. Do not create fantasy bonds. If you catch yourself in a fantasy bond, acknowledge it. But also acknowledge these programs exist within us, and we don't get to escape that. Some of you have a fantasy bond with this podcast. Some of you have a fantasy version of me that's going to put out more than one episode a month. I'm only going to talk when I have something to say, which isn't very often. You're welcome. JessaReed.com for Patreon. You can get $7 a month. You get 4 bonus episodes. They're a little bit different than this sometimes. $10 a month, you get energy updates weekly. $20 a month. Who knows? I don't understand that. Nobody involved with that tier understands it. Go for $10 a month. It's the good one. Okay, that's it. Goodbye.